Dritan, we talked about the economy, domestic issues, foreign policy, weak spots and strong spots for the administration in general. And I'm curious what this all means for 2028, if you can believe it. Another presidential election. Who do voters want in general? What type of candidate are they craving? What does it all look like?
Well, that's a great question, and actually, I'm going to go through some specific data that we asked in terms of voters' perceptions of who they want as the next president of the United States. I mean, I think that voters right now think that both Democratic leadership and Republican leadership are too far to the extreme. So when you ask them on one side about someone like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Zohran Mamdani, 55% say that they would be a danger if elected to higher office. Still, only 45% say great public servants. And then you see similar numbers on the Republican side as well when you mention names like, say, Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or some of the more sort of extreme members. I think that Trump um, has an opportunity to move to the center. He's still seen as being more on the far right, as in terms of his leadership and in terms of his management, than on the center right. 44% say he's on the far right, 36% say that he's on the center right, and then about 21% say he's left of center. And when you ask voters really what do you want in your next president? The plurality say that they want someone who's center right, 44%, followed by 31% who say that they want someone on the center left, and only 15% on the far right and 10% on the far left. So what does that mean? That means that America is a center of right country. And that means that 2028 especially given the fact that, again, a majority of the administration's initiatives still have support by most of the voters, this is the Republicans' race to lose. A lot can happen between now and then, a lot of missteps, as we just saw on immigration, and that will greatly condition how voters perceive the administration. But it's clear from the data that they want a slightly conservative leader going forward into the 2028 elections. And we also asked who would be the next preferred candidate on both sides. And on the Republican side, J.D. Vance is the clear winner with 53%, followed by Donald Trump Jr. at 21% and Marco Rubio at 17%. This is amongst all voters. And no, sorry, this is amongst Republicans. And then when you ask Democrats, it's really a race between Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom. Kamala Harris is at 39%, Newsom is at 30% in our data, and then you see a steep drop off after that for other figures. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we have a lot of polling on Harris. She's not seen as center left. She's seen as left or far left. So I think that that gives Newsom a lot of opportunity to move up. And then the question on the Republican side will be, how is J.D. Vance seen? Is he seen as the far right, in which case he might fall into some of the same traps as Trump has? Or can he position himself center right, carry the MAGA coalition, but also carry those coveted swing voters, moderate voters in the middle who make the difference? And I think that it's still a wide open race with a lot to happen in the next 3 years.
I wanted to ask about that because if 2028 is Republicans' race to lose, if Vice President J.D. Vance has this overwhelming popularity in being the GOP's nominee, but a plurality of voters think that President Trump governs too far right, is that bad news for him considering he's considered by and large the heir apparent?
Well, look, I think that the White House has to resist the more radical elements within the White House. Voters are, again, dead center when it comes to reason, right? They want reasonable approaches. They want stability, clarity, predictability. And on so many of the key issues, they would prefer grand bargains between Republicans and Democrats and vice versa, rather than this constant infighting. And I think that if the better angels of the White House's nature dominate, right, and are able to move forward the administration from the center right, then yes, this administration and its heir apparent are in a strong position heading into 2028. If it's the worst angels of their nature, then then it will be another difficult fight in 2028, similar to what we saw in 2024.
Dritan, I think something everyone can agree on is that it feels like it's been quite a year already, right? With this news cycle, both domestic news, foreign news, everything in between, but it's only the beginning of February, if you can believe it. So I think that means that we have, hopefully, a lot of conversations in store between now and midterms, as well as now and the 2028 presidential election. But it's always a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for the great questions. Thank you for the great reporting by Team Forbes, and hopefully we'll be back over the next month with some fresh data around the State of the Union to share with your viewers.